Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the show. This evening, my guest will be Mrs.Jenene Seymour. She's the board chair of the Charlotte Housing Authority Scholarship Fund. How you doing there, Ms. Seymour?
Very good. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Tell the audience a little bit about yourself first.
Well, absolutely. As you said, I chair the fundraising and advisory board for the Charlotte Housing Authority Scholarship Fund. And right now I am a stay-at-home mom, which enables me to have the time to do this.
Great.
But my background is a little different. I've worked in both higher education and the nonprofit arena, so I bring a really good mix to this role. It helps a lot, and I've got a strong passion for education that I'm channeling through this program.
How long have you been the chair of the board of the scholarship fund?
I just signed on as chair January of this year. However, I've been involved with the fund since 1997. I was working with Foundation for the Carolinas, which is a local nonprofit that actually serves as fund administrator to this program. And so I provided staff support to this program for 10 years. And then when I left that professional role, I was asked to serve on the board. So I've served on the board since 1997. I'm sorry, 2007.
Great. Okay, the scholarship fund. Tell us a little bit about that.
Absolutely. I'll tell you a lot about the scholarship
great.
fund. We provide financial assistance to young residents of properties that are owned or managed by the Charlotte Housing Authority. Now, that may be the traditional housing communities that you think of when you think of the Charlotte Housing Authority, but also any young person who is living in Section 8 subsidized housing. So that could be anywhere throughout the city. And we provide scholarships for them to continue their education at either a traditional college setting or a vocational or technical school. We've had students attend more than 65 institutions over the years. And then for students who are receiving scholarships, we also provide counseling and support services to them. And then for potential scholars, as early as middle school, we provide a variety of activities to help them prepare and get in the mindset and start thinking about post-secondary education.
Okay, the Housing Authority Scholarship Fund, what's the mission?
Well, our mission statement is that we want to make certain that every child living in Charlotte's public housing has both the opportunity for and expectation of a college education. That's our mission statement.
Okay, as far as why did you want to get involved with Charlotte Housing Authority?
Well, I actually, and I always share this with the students as well, I grew up in public housing, so personally I can relate to what you're going through, surviving day to day and going through school, and you don't always have a good focus on your future. It's oftentimes day to day. And I firmly believe that in education can just, it'll change your life and change the direction of your life. And so I really feel passionate about that, and that's why I was very excited even after leaving my professional role where I was required to work with the fund to be able to continue that work on a volunteer basis.
Okay, as far as the eligibility, how do you go about to apply for that scholarship?
Yeah, our students are constantly, our families receive information regarding the scholarship fund on a regular basis once the students hit middle school, and they're invited to all of our programs and activities. And then once the student becomes a senior, we have a fund coordinator, and we require the students, and ideally the parent as well, parent or parents as well, to meet with our scholarship fund coordinator so we can talk about what your goals are, what you want to do, and make sure that's realistic. And then there's an application process, pretty standard, transcripts and some letters of recommendation, and an interview with our selection committee. And then the selection committee actually determines the award amounts for the students. And then students are also required after that point, if a scholarship is awarded, to actually receive that scholarship, they must attend our student development workshops that are held over the summer.
And what goes on at the workshop?
Wow, it varies from year to year. Anything you can think of: leadership development, time management, business etiquette, interviewing skills, anything that is going to be helpful to the student on their path to completing their degree or their program, whatever that program of study may be. Sometimes it's just a certificate or diploma, not always a 4-year degree, but each year the topics are carefully selected to be relevant to the student's needs.
I know you mentioned a selection board. How do you come about going about the selection board?
Yeah, Foundation for the Carolinas actually appoints a selection committee, and most of the members are either scholarship fund graduates. We've got a couple of scholarship fund graduates, but we also have CMS administrators, college administrators, counselors, financial aid professionals. We really look to bring in people who we know care about our mission and really care about our students.
Okay, you how many students would you consider to be going through your scholarship program?
Well, a lot. Since the beginning, the fund was founded back in 1983, and that's an interesting story. John T. Crawford actually founded the scholarship back in 1983.
Oh, okay.
He was a housing authority employee, a youth services employee at the time. And apparently there was a student who was a rising college senior who was concerned that he might not be able to return to school because he needed more money. And so John Crawford just came up with this idea that not only was he going to help this young man go back to school, but he wanted to set up a fund that would provide support to more students. And he went out, and that first year he raised over $60,000, and that's how the fund started in 1983. And then that first year, 84, the fund supported 16 students. Now, since that time, we've supported close to 500 students. But on average, we have between 65, 75 students each year, and they're attending. Most of them stay in North Carolina, but we'll have students at Central Piedmont Community College, a lot of the state institutions, as well as private schools actually outside of North Carolina as well.
I know they got a lot of the older generation. They're now going back to the higher education. Are they eligible to receive these scholarship funds?
Our scholarship fund will support students up to age 25. And students who are first-time applicants who have never attended college cannot be over 21. So if you're over 21, we prefer that you try a semester or year on your own and make sure you're serious about it, because at that stage in life, you know, it's probably an adjustment. You're probably working and pretty settled in your lifestyle, and then you're eligible to apply. But we max out at age 25.
I know you probably have how inspiring is it for you to see these young individuals, especially living in Charlotte Housing Authority, to want to move on to higher education?
Oh, it's great, and it's good to see. I think we're seeing more students now than ever before. This past year, we had what I believe was our largest freshman class at about 30 students, which usually we'll only have about 20, 25 students to actually complete the application process. But I think that our efforts to educate students at an earlier age, it's paying off. And I think more and more students come in now really committed and seeing the value of continuing their education, as opposed to, this is what I'm supposed to do, or, you know, someone told me this is what I need to do. I think more students really get it and really have a true commitment to completing whatever program it is they pursue.
Are y'all able to talk to the parents of the children as far as them going through additional education, because a lot of the parents probably haven't been to college.
Absolutely, yeah. We try to engage the parents as much as possible, especially on the front end when we're first meeting students and going through the application process. And we also encourage the parents and try to work with them with the financial aid process. Oftentimes that is a little scary to some of the parents, and we actually require that students provide a copy of the financial aid form so that we know they have completed that. So, and we do that very intentionally. Again, if you need help with it, we'll help you with it, but we want to make sure that you are identifying and maximizing every resource that's available to you.
What separates the scholarship funding that y'all provide and other scholarships?
Well, I think quite a few things. Well, first of all, we have that shared dynamic that these are young people who are living in low-income housing, and we really try to send the message that where you're from, it does not define you, and it doesn't define where you're going. And then also, a lot of programs will not fund beauty and barber schools or vocational schools, and we understand that all of these students are individuals with different goals, and we try to encourage them to follow the path that's best for them. We understand that you know, everyone's not the same. And what else are we? Well, I'll tell you another thing is that we really, as much as possible, support most students that apply. So we understand maybe you didn't do the best in high school, just barely made it out, you have a C average. If you work with us and make a commitment and attend the programs that we want you to attend because we know they will benefit you, we will give you a scholarship. So I think that's probably very unique.
That is. Yes, as we see the kids, as they graduate, your alumni, do you have some type of reunion for them?
We do, actually. Every summer, usually in late July or early August, we host our Awards Day celebration, which is a great and very inspirational program where we recognize our graduates for the year and also announce and celebrate all of the current recipients. And that is always on a Sunday, and then on the Saturday before that we have some type of reunion event, usually a cookout for our alumni. And we're working now to really get that group more engaged in all of our volunteer efforts, including our fundraising.
What are some of the stories that you hear from some of your alumni that come back who've graduated from a higher institution?
Yeah, all positive in terms of it's just good. I mean, we all have family and you have campus resources, but they often talk about it's just good to know that you can pick up the phone and you've got people that you can call who care about you and your well-being and really understand your circumstance. So they really, you know, more so, I think, than the financial support, we hear more about the moral and emotional support that we provide to the students.
Okay, I know you go around to a lot of the communities. How important is it for you to let the communities know that you have this scholarship available?
It's very important and also frustrating.
Why is that?
Because we know that there are more students out there than those that apply.
Correct.
And we make every effort, again, to do community-based activities, you know, mailings and emails, and we have a great partnership with Charlotte-Mecklenburg Schools and a lot of our programs, and when the application cycle is open, we go into the schools, and so it's frustrating that we don't get as much of a response as we'd like to, but we'll continue to push.
And that's all you can do. I mean, it's a positive in that you're providing this scholarship, but just like you said, they should be coming after those
Yeah,
scholarships.
yeah, yeah.
I mean, because that's an important thing, especially the way the financial situation is, especially for higher education. The price is very
Yeah,
costly.
absolutely, absolutely.
And you're having a scholarship,
Yeah.
and I mean, so have you ever did a poll or anything to find out exactly, or went into schools to find out why the kids don't apply for these scholarships?
Not anything formal, because when you include Section 8 housing, we're talking about thousands of households. I think somewhere around the 8,000 range in terms of households. But informally, we'll have students, a lot of students after the fact, well, I started the application, but I didn't get it finished. And we'll see some students who will misapplying for their freshman year and come back their sophomore year. So, but unfortunately, we still have a lot of families who say they didn't know about the scholarship fund. So we'll just keep, trying our best to get the word out.
And that's why I'm glad that we have you on the show, that we can let the word out that there's a scholarship out here, ladies and gentlemen, for Charlotte Housing Authority that want to provide this financial assistance. And it's very vital. I mean, I applaud you for going to school, but you have the scholarship that you can apply for. And the parents, you need to get more involved and let your kids, learn about these scholarships that they have available.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So as far as how would they go about contacting you?
Well, the best way is, nowadays, go online. Our website is www.CHASF.com, and there's information on how to contact our scholarship coordinator to obtain an application, or if you just have a question, or even if anyone was interested in volunteering with the fund, you can just shoot us an email and we'll be in touch.
How are you funded?
We are funded. We have an endowment with Foundation for the Carolinas, and so each year the earnings from that endowment are made available for scholarships. But the role of our fundraising and advisory board is to raise money on an annual basis. And we are very fortunate to receive donations from individuals, churches, corporations, foundations. We have received grants as large as $500,000, and we receive gifts from individuals as small as $10 to $20. And a great source of pride for us is that the Charlotte Housing Authority employees regularly, as a group, make a contribution to the fund, and also many Housing Authority residents contribute to the fund.
Okay, so is there any other areas, cities that provide like a scholarship funding like you do out here in Charlotte?
Absolutely. Several, and I recently did some research on this for some of the work we were doing with the fund. Many cities have housing authority scholarships, but from what I could find, very few are as comprehensive as ours and offer as many scholarships, and also offer the level of support services in addition to the scholarship funds. Several cities, even major cities, I remember looking at New York City, I think their fund gave less than 20 scholarships in a year. So I don't think there are other cities that really have anything as comprehensive as we have.
Where do you see the scholarship fund like 5 years from now?
5 years from now, I think we would love to continue to grow. Our goal ultimately is we want to serve a minimum of 100 students per year. We'd like to continue to grow our endowment and also increase the scholarship award amounts. Right now, they range anywhere between $500 and $3,400. But the average scholarship is about $2,000 a year. So we'd like to increase that and serve at least 100 students a year.
And that 2,000, that means a lot to the individuals that's in school, because you can do a lot. What are they able to do with that funding? Is it just paying for tuition or additional things?
Generally it is just tuition, and we pay it directly to the colleges. Yeah.
Okay, as far as, Jenene, I know you talk a lot about the Housing Authority. Let's talk about Mr. Crawford. I know you've met him.
Absolutely.
How important was it for him to make sure that this scholarship funding continued?
Oh my goodness, I believe that is his life's mission. He is absolutely just fabulous, just his energy and passion about the fund. And he is just, again, just as strong an advocate and fundraiser today as he was 28 years ago. I mean, I really see him as the face of the fund. And he's still very active on the board, and he's just got big dreams for the fund, and I think that, you know, that keeps us going, just really trying to keep up with him.
And seeing Mr. Crawford the way he is, what does that instill inside yourself?
Well, I think he will always say to students as well as the board, you know, he will ask anybody for money to support these students. And I think that's the attitude. You have to have that level of passion for what you're doing and feel like, you know, I will do whatever it takes to make sure these students have what they need to be successful.
Do you think the children, as far as that's in the Charlotte Housing Authority, do you feel like there might be other reasons why they may not be applying for these scholarships? Do you think, as far as, would you put like the parents, or who would you think would be the main, some of the?
I think it varies. I think, unfortunately, some of the students, they just don't, that's not in their plans. They see high school graduation, that's it, and then I find me a job, and you know, and because most of the students are, our students are first generation college students, so generally speaking, these students don't have, you know, the cars riding through the neighborhood with little college stickers on them, or their parents or their neighbors talking about their alma maters. So for some of them, it's just really a foreign concept. I mean, it's just not in their heads, and they don't think about it until we do see students who graduate, get out there, see how tough it is to manage, you know, without an education, and then come back and decide to return to college. So moving forward, as we continue to try and get to them earlier and earlier, right now we're targeting, you know, we want to start with middle school. We just want the idea and enthusiasm and energy around post-secondary education. I always try not to say college, because everyone's not going to end up going to college, but we just want that to just be pervasive throughout the community. So that's our goal.
And you're doing a great job, you know, providing that information to the parents and to the children and to the schools and stuff, and I think that's where it goes at. And the more that you go out and spread the word, the more, you know, and to give them that motivation.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And again, that's why we were very intentional about our mission, is not only to provide the funding, but also the expectation. We need to get in their heads that, you know, this is a part of my future. It doesn't stop at high school.
So how do you educate the kids as far as telling them that it goes beyond just high school?
Well, I think a good example, on October 22nd, we had our resource fair. And this was the first year that we did this, and we're hoping it will become an annual event.
Correct.
But we brought in representatives from a host of youth-serving nonprofit organizations and some college representatives. And it was set up kind of what you think of a college fair, where there were tables and the families could talk to the different representatives and learn more about all that they have available to them in their communities, in their schools, to help them prepare for the next step. And if we can get those kids, if at least one student goes back to school and inquires about communities and schools or Right Moves for Youth, or, goes to the Y and asks about Y Achievers, we will have accomplished our goal of just getting them thinking, just starting to think about what do I need to do to prepare for my future.
Ms. Seymour, I'd like to say thank you for coming on the show and educating the community about the Charlotte Housing Authority Scholarship Fund. If someone wanted to get in contact with you, how would they do that again?
Absolutely. The best way is the website, CHASF.com, or also our offices with the Housing Authority. The number there is 704-336-5782.
Thank you, Ms. Seymour.
Thank you. Thank
Ladies
you.
and gentlemen, thank you for watching the show, and you be encouraged.